third of my novel, Redwood and Wildfire. I wrote the lyrics to that, and she did the music and sang it. My novel is about, I'm speculating on the turn of the 20th century. Redwood is an African-American conjure woman, and Aiden is a Seminole Irish banjo player. And they are trying to conjure the world they imagine on screen and on stage and in their hearts. Aiden plays the banjo and writes songs, so I told Pan that she had to learn the banjo too, so she could write all the music and then perform it. And so she did that. And I was like, whoa, I didn't actually expect her to do it. It was one of those wishes that I had, and then she did it. So I will read several sections of the novel, and Pam will sing Aiden's songs. I wrote those words, and she composed the music and conquered the banjo. And we'll answer any questions you have at the end. Okay, so think of questions as you listen to us.
Running won't set you free. Running won't set you free. On the loose and acting brave, a man could still be a slave in shackles he just don't see. Running won't set you free. Running won't set you free.
Saeed and Redwood, dressed as Africans with grass skirts, animal skins, and gator teeth necklaces, paced the back lot of Chicago's newest motion picture factory. Large bones, turkey most likely, from a nearby slaughterhouse were stuck through their hair. They squatted in front of a round hut with a thatched roof. Other natives, similarly dressed, huddled near them at the edge of a jungle. Fake palm trees that had been added to local crab, apple, dogwood, and sassafras trees. Redwood blew a purple prairie smoke blossom that trailed silvery filaments as it went to seed. "What part of Africa is this?" Saeed asked. "Chicago, Abyssinia," Redwood laughed. Saeed laughed too, and who are we again? Nobody. Redwood suddenly turned glum and clutched Saeed. "What is it?" A lion grumbled. What are they doing to that old cat?" She looked toward the sound. "Ah, they tease him to look ferocious." Saeed squinted. "He doesn't want to come out of the cage." "Oh." She hugged herself. "Well, I got an idea for a motion picture, a colored romance on a sea island." "No one will make that. White folk are scared of colored romance." Saeed shrugged. Who'd come to see it? "For a nickel, colored folk will. Don't they come to the club after hours to hear us? Or head on over to the Pecan Theater to see all colored adventures in Darkville? White folk come too, everybody does." "Well, I hear rumors. The Pecan's going broke and about to close down. I mean, you can't get rich entertaining. No, Don't be quoting Eddie to me." Histrionic yelling was followed by fevered drums. Saeed pulled her up. He put on his savage face. "Time to welcome the great white hunter." Throwing up her hands in exaggerated fright, Redwood ran with Saeed and a crowd of screaming savages toward a row of cameramen cranking away. "I don't work with divas anymore." Mr. Payne looked like the dead president for True this afternoon as he yelled at the idle cast and crew on the back lot of his motion picture factory. The light was better outside, but 3 days wasted. Payne resented every red cent spent to keep a village of screaming savages on hand for the rampage and the big hunt. Redwood sucked her teeth. She slouched against a flimsy African hut and scratched the itchy grass skirt going to seed round her waist. Well, Pay's not yelling at you. Saeed was scratching too. The lion was refusing to act. Redwood wanted to yell at the lazy creature herself. Well, they're happy. Saeed pointed at African savages rolling dice. Well, of course the Pullman Porter extras weren't complaining. In between grueling trips through wild country with cheapskate passengers acting African put good money in their pockets. But Redwood and Saeed were headliners, real show folk itching to perform. Shooting a moving picture wasn't strutting across the stage to get lost in applause and laughter, in the audience sucking one breath together. It was endless waiting for the sun to escape clouds, for the crew to pamper finicky lenses, or to catch huts blown about by the wind machine. A turkey bone slid from Saeed's slippery hair. He shouldn't have tossed that kinky fright wig. Redwood sighed. You know, with this beetle-headed scenario, who can blame that line for popping in his dressing room? Get that lazy cat moving! Payne coughed in his handkerchief and marched off. A cage door opened to the lion snarling and spitting. Several white cameramen looked anxious as they cranked images of this beast, old and broken-toothed, but still a ferocious sight. A muscular handler with a pock-marked ruddy complexion and streaks of gray in his black hair smacked the lion in the belly with a big stick and cracked a whip. The lion snarled and swiped, mane bristling with rage. The handler cracked the whip again and caught the lion in the face. The animal drew back as the handler jabbed harder at skinny ribs. You know, that ain't a good idea! Redwood shouted at the handler and then whispered to Saeed, you know, that must hurt. Saeed groaned, oh, too many people. This animal is frightened and very angry. With another whip crack from the sunburnt handler and more painful prodding, the lion retreated further into the cage instead of coming forward. The handler shouted and the lion crouched up against the bars looking weary and pathetic. Damn fool, you want to get us fired? The handler was cussing the lazy beast, talking about an old bag of bones when the lion leapt. Redwood was stunned by the sudden power and grace of the rippling muscles, but something was wrong. With jaws gaping and claws slashing the air, the lion aimed itself at the foul-mouthed handler, whose whip now hung limp in his hand. The lion's golden eyes flashed murderous rage. The handler shook his head and turned his back as if he couldn't believe the lion would dare attack him. He moved in slow motion while the lion was a streak of light. Where are you going? Saeed yelled as Redwood ran toward the lion. A sharp wind from an electric fan tore the mane from the lion's neck to reveal a she-cat in disguise. Cast, crew, and cameramen gasped. The lioness was momentarily distracted by her costume problem. She shook violently till she was free of someone else's ratty old mane. The handler had gotten up to speed and was charging away, but that was too late. The lioness recovered her momentum and cut the distance between them in 2 easy bounds. She tore into his behind, ripping through the pants and sinking teeth into soft flesh. The handler howled. Redwood slowed to a walk, praying for a good spell to come to her. 2 cameramen froze above their lenses. One thin, pale man continued to film, while the African savages and the white hunters screeched and knocked each other over, scurrying away. Redwood recognized the curly red beard and scraggly eyebrows. Nikolai Minsky, a determined fellow, he shook off his comrades, urging him to run, and continued to roll. They gripped their cameras and dashed away. The handler, with the lioness clamped to his butt, struggled toward Nikolai, begging for help. Nikolai's eyes darted up from his lens. I mean, without a whip or a gun, what could he do? Running was his only safe option. Possessed, a demon driven to capture this deadly spectacle, Nikolai shifted his camera's vantage point and continued rolling. Redwood danced in front of the lioness. The wind got caught in her fierce moves. A train of fog snaked through the dust at her feet. Prairie smoke seeds, a cloud of silvery purple filament spun around her head as Redwood swirled like a hurricane brewing. The she-cat let go of butt flesh and raggedy pants and spit her mouth clear. She licked blood from her broken fangs. Stepping over the whimpering handler, the lioness crouched low and moved toward Redwood. A stiff wind chased clouds across the sky. Nikolai praised the returning sunlight as he cranked on his camera like a demon. Redwood sprang high in the air, cloaked in a cyclone of fog and prairie smoke. In the middle of a spin, she fixed her eye on the lioness. She felt a great thundering heart, wheezing lungs, and aching